Hello? I was just telling Cody here how I wanted to stink like a fish market.
He brought me some salmon that he smoked, which I'm excited for. I'll react to it on the next podcast.
Yeah, you'll have to...
I'm assuming I still had to cook it, right? It's not cooked.
No, it's cooked.
Oh, it is cooked.
But
okay.
Yeah, just nibble it, dude.
Okay.
It's you cure it for a little bit.
Gotcha.
And then you smoke it for a couple hours till it hits, cooked temperature.
I did not realize that it was cooked. So I'll go fucking munch on that later.
Yeah, dude. It's I think like what salmon or most fish is done at like 140-ish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's about like steak.
Yeah.
When I was reading the temperature guide for steak, it was like the normal like chef's temperature is like 130 to 135 for medium rare or something, or not medium rare, just medium, I think.
Oh yeah.
And then the USDA is like 140 to 145 or something. It's like 10 degrees higher.
Yeah. I mean, I like a medium rare,
Yeah.
125, 130.
Right, I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it was medium rare is what I'm thinking of.
So like I have like a thermostat or a meat thermometer or whatever, right? And you
can... Yeah, the meat thermostat.
Yeah, the meat thermostat. Yeah. So you plug that right in there and you just you get your reading. And I think like on the back of, I have two of them. One of them like broke a little bit, but it still works. I think one of them says like 125 or something stupid like that, and then the other one says like 140 for medium rare. It's like, all right, one of these is like Chinese or something.
China's eating their meat raw, dude. Chad energy over there. They don't even care.
Does it have grill marks? It's probably overcooked.
They got a fucking parasite cleanse every day. They don't got to worry about it. The water chestnuts, I believe, are anti-parasitic.
There you go.
Is from what I understand.
Just eat those.
Which is really funny because I was reading this book called like The Chinese Bestiary, which is like a book of like a bunch of monsters or something. It's like an ancient book. And I haven't read all of it. I only read a little bit of it. But in the beginning, they mentioned like this thing that they pick by the river that like kills worms or some sort of parasites or something, but it's a word that we don't have in English that I've never heard before, and so I could never translate it because obviously I don't have the original Chinese text, and I've looked for the original Chinese text, but I can't find it, and even if I did, I would have to draw out the characters or something. So when ChatGPT came out, I actually asked ChatGPT, I was like, in this book, like, obviously, you have, like, data on the original and probably the new one.
Yeah.
What is this referring to? Like, what plant is this? And it was actually able to tell me, and it was fucking water chestnuts. At least according to it. It could be hallucinating or something, but...
Do you hear about, like, how they, like, nerfed it with the math problems?
No, did they nerf it? What did they do to it?
They just made it so it's not as good as it should for math. Like, older versions of it could solve math problems better, and now this one, like, screws up a little bit. Probably just to stop people from, like, cheating on their math homework.
I wonder, maybe there is some divine answer people can ascertain from math, and they don't want them to be able to get it. The divine numbers, the golden ratio. Somebody could accidentally stumble into the next golden age. We wouldn't want anybody to do that.
No, we need to be stuck in the coal mines forever.
Everybody's got to be a dumb idiot. Even if we have it reminds me of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where there's that giant supercomputer, and they had asked it like thousands of centuries ago, whatever, to solve like what is the meaning of life, and like the civilizations have like risen and fallen in the time that it is take to process this thing, and eventually, when the main characters of the book get to the computer to solve the question, and when they ask it what the answer is, it says 46 or 42 or whatever. 42. I think it's 42.
It's 42.
Yeah. The meaning of life is 6 times 8, 42. Yeah, whatever it is. And they're like, what? It's like that. AI can solve it, but we don't understand, and they need to make it dumber so that we don't have the answer.
We lack the comprehension
required.
But I guess I can tell you about what I've been doing, and then
tell me.
You got like this topic that
I have a topic that I want to talk, but it's fine. You can talk.
Okay.
We got time.
Yeah, so I've been not working still.
Yeah.
It's been driving me a little bit crazy, but at the same time, I've realized that I've slowly become the most happiest I've been in a long time.
Do you think that's like freedom, or is it some other sort?
It's yeah, I think it's a little bit of like freedom, and then like realizing, I not even realizing, but just I was not working and my body was kind of used to always working. And so now that I'm not used to working and I'm used to kind of just living life and like not really homesteading per se. I'm not like taking care of animals or crops or anything, but I'm like just taking care of the house and like doing stuff around there. I've been like satisfied with just going outside and going like, gonna water the jalapenos, taking a look at like, oh yeah, that's coming in nice.
Mm-hmm.
Like just doing weird things that you see like grandpas doing. I think I understand how they fall into this.
Yeah.
I bought a grill, which is actually a smoker. It's a Traeger, so it's a smoker grill. So like I made that salmon, and like I've been going ham. I think we ate grilled foods like 4 days in a row. Like I made salmon. I made like shish kebabs, burgers, and bread.
Bread, really?
Here,
wow.
I'll show you an image. I don't know if we'll put it in the thing, but my wife captured the essence of me grilling. Look at that.
That's beautiful. So the picture is Sam without a shirt. Beautiful.
I got a beer in hand.
Got a beer in hand, a straw hat, a beautiful face in shorts, no shoes.
Yep.
With a hilarious looking face. I don't know what face you're making at her.
It's just grilling.
It's like the heat of the grill. You're trying to squint to avoid it.
Probably.
All that manly chest hair on you, dude.
Oh yeah. So it's it's been beautiful. Just
yeah, what do people need other than grilling?
Me and my wife, we had a moment where like after eating the burgers, we like sat down in the basement and like went like, life's pretty good. Like there was something that like the grill clicked in where it was like, grilling? That's pretty good, dude. I love burning fossil fuels. Like
we don't have to do anything. We just gotta eat food.
We just gotta eat food and live our lives.
That's awesome. So do you think that I don't know, do you want to talk more about like the freedom you have? Like do you feel like the self-directedness of not having work is like allowing you to enjoy like the peace and the smaller things of life, or what? Yeah,
well the weird part is that at first I didn't feel that at all. I felt purposeless. And that I just didn't, I just didn't have like anything to do. I was just like walking around aimlessly without like any goals or purpose, right? So I mean, like now I kind of just do what I feel like doing that day.
Do you feel like the purposelessness was like an external influence or like an internal influence?
I feel like both almost. I mean, I wasn't doing much. Unless I made myself do something. You know what I mean? So it was, I don't know. It was kind of both.
Because I noticed that in the past for me, I've had a lot of external influence. I'm like, you have to do this. You have to get this done. And as I have been, I guess, moving towards like a different aspect of self, I've found that I'm trying to motivate things intrinsically and internally. Like it shouldn't be I have to do this. It should be like I'm the master of my own will. Like I'm doing this because I want to do this, not because I arbitrarily some peer pressure or force outside of my control has decided it.
Yeah,
sort of thing.
I gotcha.
Rather than like victimhood, it's more like assuming the mantle and
you took control.
Yeah, steering the wheel.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, like yeah.
Dude, grilling sounds awesome. That's a great hobby to have.
It's a good time. It's been like grilling and just doing stuff outside, like around the house and stuff. Like 2 days ago, me and my dad ripped out the back door finally.
Oh, okay, so you did the front door and now you're going to the back now. Okay.
Yep. And all we got left now is just got to put up some trim around it, and it's done.
Now, when we talked about this previously, the front door specifically, you had said that you believed the back door was going to be more work. Was it more work, or was it less work?
It was more work. I mean, we worked from like 9 to 6. So that's 9 hours.
Because I remember you had to shimmy up like the front door, or because of the foundation was messed up. Yeah. Did you have to do something similar for the back as well?
No, but because so this is the fun part. So like, all right, my house is old, and back in the day, they used asbestos for siding.
Oh.
So we found out underneath the nice vinyl siding, there's a layer of foam, and then asbestos, and then ancient, like, Egyptian tar paper that's, like, this thick and impossible to cut.
Yeah, so it's about 3 inches for the...
Yeah. About, an inch and a half.
Inches. Yeah, sorry, your fingers look like 3 inches.
Yeah, I was probably...
Yeah.
No, but it was about an inch and a half of, like, just, like, tar paper, wood chip, like, just... They're like, yeah, we just dug this out of the ground, slap it on the wall.
That's amazing. It's almost like they just took mud from the ground and started making a mud hut or something.
Just about. But working with asbestos.
Yeah.
Not really supposed to do it.
Mm-hmm. I
didn't really, like, we were at the point where we were taking the door out, right? And then we look and it's like, oh, that's asbestos after we took everything out. So no turning back now. We got to put a new door in. Mm-hmm. That's where I got the scar right here.
Oh, jeez.
But
you're like a war veteran from these doors.
The door fell on, so like it was in a frame, and then it fell out of the frame onto me.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, but so we had to work around the asbestos. We kind of just like you take some if you score it with a knife, and you take some pliers and like break it. It kind of breaks off like if you had a thin sheet of concrete. It's similar.
Tiles have been pretty similar for me with that.
Yeah, it's basically essentially the same. It's just like another ground rock. But we were, me and my dad were making fun of like asbestos, the material of the future.
Yeah, I didn't realize that asbestos wasn't man-made until recently. It's actually just like something we mine out of the ground. Yeah. It's just a...
Well, do you want to hear my conspiracy about asbestos?
Yeah, let's hear it.
So, all right. Russia has the biggest asbestos mine in the world.
Really?
Yep. And they still use it to this day. Now, the U.S. being enemies with Russia, I don't know when exactly they said asbestos was bad, but I think that they went like, hey guys, wait a second. We have some asbestos, but if we use all of our asbestos, we'll have to get it from Russia. Yikes. I don't think I want to do that. Asbestos kills you.
That's actually interesting.
I think that there's part of it where asbestos and dust form. I think that there's a lot of research on that, and that it does, in fact, kill you slowly. But like in the form that it was on my house, not terrible. Like it didn't break off into a bunch of dust or anything. Mm-hmm. So it was still like just, I don't know, big chunks. And I don't think like touching it's bad for you or anything. So... I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know enough about it to say one way or the other, but I definitely do believe that there is some sort of political chicanery between territorial country lines that either advocate or unadvocate for different things.
Yeah, I mean, I think it may be both or is a little true or whatever. You never know, right? So yeah, no, we just had to work around the asbestos.
Yeah. The grind, grilling, salmon, asbestos, back door, front door, no work, want work, looking for work, hitchhiking for work.
Dude, the stupid part is I have a job coming up. It's just that it was supposed to start next week, but now they're like, maybe 2 weeks. And so we'll see if they keep pushing back the...
Is there something that they're waiting for, or?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they got to build the machine.
Oh, I see. So it's pretty useless. You can't program anything if there's no machine, right?
No, there's just air there. But yeah, I'm trying to think. I thought there was one other. Oh, and then I guess is the last thing. I saw the Barbie movie yesterday.
Oh, dude, did you? How was that?
First, I'd like to hear what you've heard about the Barbie movie, if anything.
Honestly, I've avoided listening to anything, so the only thing I heard about is like through Jade's family. They talk about like her dad is like really into some of the people that like hate watch that sort of stuff, and they talked about like the trans agenda or something in it. I don't know.
Was there a trans agenda?
Apparently there was like a trans character in it. I don't know.
Oh, one of the yeah.
It's probably like an insignificant side character that doesn't matter, but
they had like
whatever.
They had like maybe 1 or 2 lines. I think. I mean, I don't actually even know what the trans character was. Maybe I'm just blind to it. I don't know. Maybe I just didn't care enough to notice.
I'm sure it's just more people that are ornery. They got to get upset about something, and they decided the latest fixation is the Barbie movie.
There is this, because like what I heard before, I didn't watch any trailers. I didn't watch anything. My wife just told me who was in it, and I like Michael Cera a lot. And I'm like, oh, Michael Cera being a Ken doll? That's funny. Why don't we see how that goes? And he's not even a Ken doll. He's like he's Ken's best friend or whatever. And Adam or Andrew or something. But anyway.
That sounds pretty funny.
Yeah, so he's just kind of like a side dude. And like, I don't know. But anyway. So, I don't know anything about the trans thing. But I did hear that like, some people are like, oh, that movie it's pro-feminist, it's bad for whatever. And I'm like, it's the Barbie movie. It's for girls.
She's a boss woman.
Yeah. The whole idea of the movie is that Barbie thinks that she has inspired the entire world into being pro-feminist or whatever, and that women are like doctors and astronauts and all this other stuff, right? And then she goes to the real world and finds out that's not quite true, right? So, without like spoiling too much, it's a fun time. It's a good movie. It's not necessarily a movie that's like it has like stuff where it's like, oh yeah, here's like feminist stuff or whatever, but it's not. I don't think that's the main point of the movie. The main point of the movie is that it's Barbie becomes human, right? It's like overall, this plastic doll who had like a perfect life becomes a human. I was like, oh, this is like a movie that while I'm watching, I'm like, oh, this isn't like a silly, goofy Barbie movie. This is like a real movie.
This is like Pinocchio, but modern.
Yeah, but Pinocchio kind of sucks.
I haven't watched Pinocchio, actually. I don't even... all I know is he turns into a real boy, that's it.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
But like the concept of going from machine to man, right?
Yeah, yeah. But I think...
inanimate to animate.
If you use Barbie, right, that makes it more of a plastic, which is more of a 21st century thing, right? So it's like, rather than a puppet, it's just like a doll person.
Yeah, rather than the hand up your ass, it's around you.
Yes. Yeah.
There's a difference. Actually, Pinocchio was just on strings, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So there was no hand up his ass.
If you watch a Disney movie, he's got songs like I Got No Strings.
Oh.
That part of the movie.
I don't know. I've never watched it.
Seen.
Yeah. Is it like no strings attached? He's like a good relationship partner or what?
No, he's I mean he goes to a bar.
He's got a big nose if he lies. Could you imagine he's like in bed with somebody and he's like, "You're beautiful," and she's like, "Yeah, keep lying to me, baby." You're so good, man. I don't want anybody else but you.
I mean, dude, the joke's been made like 1,000.
Probably, yeah. I'm just being stupid. It's probably the most age-old joke. I'm just stealing some comedian's content that's already been done 1,000 times before.
Do you think that he has like one rather than length? He has like a girth one. Like if he tells like a half truth, it's girth instead.
That could be interesting.
Yeah, or if he uses double speak.
Oh my god, yeah.
I can't even think of a double speak off the top of my head. But
wow, we're bringing 1984 into this one, baby.
Guys, imagine that. Double speak Pinocchio. I'll leave it to your imagination.
Could you imagine?
You do the work.
If he takes Viagra.
Now he's got hardwood. And hardwood.
There you go. What kind of wood do you think he's made out of? Do you think it's like something precious or like cheap?
Oh, it's probably cheap. It's probably like
balsam wood.
Yeah.
Peasant balsam wood.
Yeah. Well, it's easy to shape, I guess.
Yeah, because he was like what is this guy? His main guy that made him was like a puppet maker, right?
I can't remember his name. I know who you're talking about.
It's fucking Guy Fieri. That's what it is.
Welcome to Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. And he walks off the set and just starts like sculpting a puppet.
Yeah. He takes his little fucking chisels and he starts hacking at it. Do you think the modern iteration of him would be one of those like chainsaw like sculpturists that work at those fairs? He's like, I'm gonna do a bear out of this log. The bear comes to life. I'm gonna call him Pinocchio. What the fuck is happening? Dude, try this horrible drink.
What is
this? This is mugwort or whatever.
Oh, God.
Yes.
Why would you drink?
It's horrible.
That is by far the most bitter.
It's even worse than black coffee. It's terrible.
Like, the tea-ish flavor is there in the smallest, most hidden note.
It is horrible.
Why are you...
Tyler brought it yesterday because we had talked about it like months ago. Like, I think it was probably like 6 months ago. He had talked about how his ex at the time had gotten mugwort to smoke or whatever. I was like, oh, you should bring it in and we'll like drink it as tea, because I had heard about mugwort, but I haven't used it for anything like that.
You smoke it?
Yeah, you're supposed to smoke it. Yeah, it's like a almost powdered in the bag or whatever. But I was like, oh, I can use this tea because it's the same thing. You just distill it. I mean, you just pour the boiling water over it and it extracts the stuff of it.
What does it do?
So there's a lot of things that people say it does, but I want to focus on the most important thing from our podcast, right? So
just drug me. I just like tripping balls in his chair. And you've been like, yeah, man, I've been drinking mugwort for 4 weeks. Like,
I can't stop. I don't remember when I started. No, the most important thing is in our podcast we've talked about the prevalence of thujone and wormwood, and I've also drinking like white cedar tea and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And this is part of the same group of stuff that has a lot of thujone in it. So people say it like helps with your anxiety. People say it helps with your headaches. People say it helps with like women's menstrual pain and cramping. I'm sure it does all of the above, but what it also does is has a lot of thujone in it, so which is responsible for many things, some of which I'm sure the government has banned because we could gain insight into it, but it affects your dreams and your ability to have interesting dreams. So
fun.
Yeah. So I was drinking it just because, you know, suffering is a character trait.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. No, that is like, all right, if somebody told me that it was like an herbal remedy, I could chug it. I could drink it down real fast, but I would never want to sip. Like, I don't know why you're sipping it.
It's horrible.
It's honestly miserable.
I think it builds character, so that's why. I just want you to know if I make any weird faces that that's the reason.
I know why.
Because I'm learning how to suffer.
Yeah, what are you learning? How to sip?
How to sip pain. Distilled pain. Nah, dude, so that's good.
Oh, God. When was the last time we even... I'm trying to remember if there's anything else that even happened. I don't think so.
We've been doing podcasts pretty regularly, almost every 2 weeks, every week and a half. I have like 4 of them I gotta upload. I think this is the 5th.
Yeah.
I still need...
I think this is the 6th.
I don't know.
Because I think I sent 4 in... I don't know. Yeah.
I still need 1 thumbnail from you, but I have to tell you what that last one was, and then whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
This is just shop. We're talking shop with the with the listeners. I was gonna say viewers, like you're watching us.
Yeah. Oh, they're watching.
All right, I gotta get into my main spiritual topic of today.
Yep.
We're gonna talk about karma.
Okay.
All right. So I'd like to begin with a summary of events of how my life is and what I'm doing currently.
Mm-hmm.
The summary is several months ago, if you have not kept with the podcast, I had an episode on here where I talked about my car getting fucked up and rammed from behind by a teenage girl and destroyed. So my life now, several months later, has been basically not going anywhere, depending on people, sleeping on my office floor more regularly, and also working on my game. Mm-hmm. I have had, probably based on the banking notifications that I get every morning at 4 a.m. in the morning on the spot, I have basically been living with less than $30 in my account routinely for the last few months, managing to pay just my phone bill and everything else. And then luckily my girlfriend's family and my girlfriend provides food. But I have been fasting as well. So even if I needed to, I'm sure I could fast for longer. Suffering permitted, yes.
Jesus.
So I say all of this as a preface because there is someone upstairs that either wants to mess with me or wants the just hilarity to happen. So I don't know where to start this. I will reveal what I have beneath the blanket. So what you see before what you see before you in a box on the floor is the mid-90s. It is a box of mid-90s, 1995 to probably like 1997 Magic cards. So what you're looking at here is trash.
Okay.
This was garbage. One of my family members had really wanted the plastic bins that somebody had put on the side of the road for organizing. And what they found when they opened these bins and looked through them was these cards. Okay, so
this is not garbage.
Yeah, this is not garbage.
Who's throwing this out?
Now, out of what I have...
oh my god.
What I have extracted... What I have extracted from these cards... So this is I don't know, like 50 to 60 cards here.
Yeah.
I have not priced everything in this box, but what you have here, that is $10,000 worth of Magic cards.
I thought you were... Oh, yeah, Force of Will. Yeah.
That's a full play set of Force of Wills. The Dual Lands are some of the most coveted cards in Magic. Each one commanding prices over $300 at minimum.
I thought you were about to, like, hand me a stack of, like, Black Lotuses or something.
I did not get that lucky, but I got very lucky.
This is pretty damn good,
yeah,
honestly.
This is very lucky for what? Jesus. For nothing. For random... just garbage on the side of the road.
Christ. I mean, like, I don't even collect Magic, and I look at... I've priced out decks before, and it's like, oh, use this, and I looked up, like, those Dual Lands, and it's like, oh!
Yeah.
Oh.
This is like... This is hilarious.
So you're gonna collect them and not sell them.
That would be absolutely... retarded. It did occur to me. I had the hilarious passing thought, as well as Tyler did when we explored this set together of somebody's collection of Magic cards. But the thought occurred to me that I could take these and go enter tournaments and fight to earn more money. Oh my god. But, like, the problem with that is that, like, there are just no vintage or legacy tournaments in my area.
Yeah, no.
Because the amount of money it takes to get into that format is insane.
Yeah.
Or you just have to be absurdly lucky and just have this shit fall in your lap, basically.
I mean, like, now, hear me out on this. Here's a third plan.
Yeah,
rather than making... You could sell them, you could go to tournaments. Yeah. Now, third plan. Cash in on the karma. Go back to the house where whoever found this bin had them put out and find out whose cards they were, right? If it was like somebody like, oh, say like I lived at my parents' house and I left my cards up in a bin and they're like, Harold doesn't use these cards anymore, and just threw them out on the curb, I would be pissed, and you could cash in on the karma and they would probably give you a cash reward.
I doubt it.
I doubt that they would give you a cash reward. I doubt it,
but... And I don't even know if they remember the house that they passed, so...
They're yours now!
Yeah, I got them here.
What a string of luck. Whoever your relative is like, oh, hey, bins! Literally. God.
Jesus Christ. I have to find a moral way to pay them back. Like, they have a lot of money. They're, like, a pretty rich family member of mine.
Yeah.
But I still think I could, like, contribute to their life in a positive way based on this luck.
I mean, like, just like, this ancient... I don't know. To anybody who knows anything, they would, like, look at, like, oh, that's a really old thing that says Magic on it.
Dude, the odds of living in 2023 and not doing the cursory Google search of are Magic cards worth money?
Literally, you just have to talk to your phone.
Yeah, you could ask Siri.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, actually, because this, from my gauging of this set and the timing of, like, when these cards were released and stuff, I do actually believe that this set was pilfered at some point for money. I do believe that this set is missing some key things in it. I don't think I have the whole aspect of it. There were some decks, they were loosely constructed, but the thing this lacks is a lot of land. Every Magic player has a huge base of land. There is not a lot of basic lands in here.
They might have just been purely...
I don't know. See, the weird thing is that from what I can ascertain, right, I would imagine, so there are booster boxes, so this is somebody that had bought, booster boxes, so they either were, a draft player, or they were just some, I don't know, casual person. The cards are in really good condition, which is great.
Yeah.
Those cards I showed you were in pretty good, so I expect to get, a pretty decent price for them. I'm going to have to call some card shops around, or I might just go through Card Kingdom to sell some of these things. I don't know. I'll figure it out.
Even.
Yeah, eBay. I'll figure it out. But then there's, the timing of everything and just the general collection and some of the other stuff I got too that was in less condition. I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, a full playset of Force of Wills is really strange because that's a very competitive card.
Oh yeah.
I didn't find any of the Moxes, none of the Power 9, none of those really commandingly expensive cards, but there also isn't any Alpha and Betas, which I wouldn't expect to find Alpha and Betas here in Michigan. That's probably something I would expect to find more in California, where they first debuted the first two sets of Magic. The most common set of Magic is the Unlimited set, and it's called Unlimited because it was an unlimited print run initially when it was released, whereas the Alpha and Beta are very limited in quantity, which is why they command such a high price. Primarily, the cards here are from Visions, Mirage, Urza Saga, and Ice Age, and we have a few cards from Antiquities and Arabian Nights, which were old. I think I've only found one, the Dark card as well. So I believe this is a person who is a trader, or somebody, maybe they traded amongst friends. They seem to have an affinity for white and blue, which is awesome, but it lacks a lot of the white and blue things that I would expect to find from a very competitive type player.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's where not having, because even I only had Pokemon cards.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my energy, I have a bin that's just energy cards.
Yeah, exactly. And I didn't see, and I don't know how thorough my family member was at looking at the stuff on the curb, but it's very likely that, somebody either picked up the initial pack first and this was another one, or maybe that person, like I said, the collection was pilfered and they sold or got rid of a lot of stuff. Basic lands aren't really worth any money, so most people collecting cards would probably just throw them away, if anything. What they don't know is that the old lands are worth some money, but it's fine. Yeah. Especially snow-covered lands, which this is Ice Age, so there's a lot of snow-covered stuff from what I can see. But it is that, like I said, there is someone upstairs that either desperately wants me to succeed.
the stars aligning is pretty, extreme.
Even if I get, the lowest price possible for those cards, which I would imagine would be about, $5,000 for just the few that I've shown you there, that's still enough to, do the stuff that I want to do in a positive way. I would like to pay off some of, Jade's credit card debt and stuff like that she has, and, go through and... I mean, I'm sure I will have enough money to put into the things that I want to do.
Oh, yeah.
And so I've been kind of making a list of things that improve my life, things that improve the lives of others, and then trying to figure out how much it would cost to do these things. I want to possibly fix Jade's camera or get a new camera so that I can start doing more YouTube type stuff. Mm-hmm. Not that I really need it. It's just I figured it's a good investment. It's not gonna hurt. And the problem with having cards like this is they're so fragile and degrading over time. And I would rather just have. I already have proxies of all this stuff.
Oh yeah.
So there's no point in keeping unless I was going to literally become a vintage player or something, which is already pretty difficult because there's still a lot of cards I would still need in order to become vintage, depending on the deck that I would play.
Double down.
Yeah, double down. Get store credit for the cards.
Yeah.
Turn them into more Magic cards. Make a perfect vintage deck.
Buy booster boxes with the cards.
Yeah, start playing the lottery for real. Oh my god.
I'll take that Lord of the Rings set. I'm gonna try my luck at the ring.
Yeah. The ring's already been found, but maybe there's another one. Maybe somebody misprinted.
Do you hear about there was one story, it was recently, where there's a guy who worked at the factory that made Pokemon cards, and he was literally just taking out of a certain set, he was taking the Charizards and all the high value cards and just literally just taking them off the conveyor belt And so people, whenever that pack or that set came out, people were like, "Oh wow, they made them really rare."
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, it was just because some douchebag was just taking them, and then he went to a flea market, set up a table, and like had stacks.
Wow.
That were just massive piles of the same card, and people like, "So how did you get these?" Like, "Oh, I worked at the factory." He was dumb enough to just say that he worked at the factory.
Wow. Was there any like recourse of action against him? Probably
I think
not.
He got fired.
Yeah.
And then everybody on the Pokemon subreddit was like, "We can't buy cards from him." So a whole 20 people are not going to buy cards from him.
Everybody else is though.
Yeah, pretty much. Everybody wants that. I probably sold them for kind of cheap. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah. Regardless, it's
That's cool, man.
It's pretty funny.
Is there like? Can I look at
Yeah,
these?
yeah. You can pull out the binders. Yeah,
I just wanted to see what was.
Yeah, they're binders of some very old cards.
Jesus.
I'm pretty sure that Underworld Dreams on the first page is like over $100.
Yeah.
I haven't pulled all these out, so there's still the chance, although slim, that there is a Black Lotus somewhere in here.
Yeah, imagine it's just like page 3.
Yeah, no, it's like it could be between the cards. I don't know. It's unlikely, but
I've never even seen like 99% of the.
Yeah,
I mean, like I haven't. I'm not a Magic player.
Yeah, I have seen a lot, but there is still many I have not seen myself as well.
Yeah, I didn't even know the art went this hard.
Oh yeah, the old art is beautiful.
Oh yeah,
it's not that like kind of boring digital modern painting that they do. These are all done by hand in some form. I love the variance of art quality too. Some are horrible, some are good.
I kind of like I like dumb, bad looking art.
Yeah,
on cards specifically. I think it gives it more personality. Makes me want to use that more than.
I mean, it feels like real people made it rather than. I
just saw like a gorilla.
Just that is Curd Ape,
just
and it
like
was
a real
banned when it came out. Because so it's 1 mana, and what is it, a 1/2 or something?
1/1.
It's a 1/1,
and it gets 1+2 if you have a forest.
Yeah. So the reason that was like. They desperately did not want creatures to be powerful when they first came out, and that guy was like value. Because you would drop him, right? You drop your dual land that was like both a forest and a mountain, and then this motherfucker would come in for and 1 mana. And he's basically like a 2/3. Like he's huge.
He's the best creature in the game. And
creatures are very expensive. Like you'll see in some of these, like what the creature value back then was like 5 mana for like a 5/4 or something. Yeah. Like whereas now you got like a 2 mana for like a lifelink, first strike, vigilance, flying. Like it's insane.
Yeah, this guy is 5 mana and is a 5/2.
Yeah, that sucks. That absolutely sucks.
It does have it can attack the turn you put it into play.
Oh man, haste. Good old haste.
Before they called it anything. Yeah.
Before they had a keyword for it. But
yeah, dude, this is pretty cool. You can tell, because I mean, like, there's just stuff randomly missing. So, like, here, right? This was right where they had the Black Lotus.
Yeah.
So they took those out.
Surprisingly, yeah. I don't think a lot of people know how much the dual land... I mean, you have to be a Magic player, I think, to know that the dual lands are worth a lot of money. So I got lucky in those being there. And there's also a lot of weird artifacts and things like that people don't know. Command prices, because they don't reprint them, or there is limited reprints of them, so...
Yeah. I'm guessing this is the symbol for the ice thing, but...
Yeah,
they have
the
like
snowflake on it. Yeah.
No, it's like a 3-pronged thingy, but whatever.
Yeah.
That's kind of a visual thing for
an
podcast.
auditory podcast.
Yeah, but this is pretty cool, man.
Yeah, it's a piece of history. What I also find fascinating is like looking at a collection like this, you can kind of tell what kind of player they were, what cards they valued.
I think you have another dual land.
Oh, do I?
In here. If you want.
Yeah, if I want, I'll go through. I'll pull it out. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah. Just leave it in there, whatever.
Yeah.
Who cares?
There was just dual lands like in random some of these boxes that I pulled out.
Are they just like loose? Like
haphazardly thrown in there. And look at, like, you can tell, like, they just glued a bunch of cards to the front of this binder.
Jesus Christ.
Luckily, none of them are good, but maybe that face down one is a Black Lotus.
Yeah, you, like, peel it back and it's got glue all over it. The Black Lotus.
It's hard to say.
Oh, they made a little...
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Luckily, those cards aren't worth money. That's good. the ones they glued in a spiral.
It was just like a kid that played Magic. He's like, I really like Black Lotus. He just glued it on the binder.
It's hard for me to believe that this was a child. I mean, it might have been a child at some point, but
this looks like I did this when I was a child.
The front looks childish, but having 4 Force Wills, like, that's such a power gamer move. Why would you have a playset of those just in a binder?
Maybe they started whenever they were a kid, and then they got to like teenager years. Yeah. They played in a tournament like, oh, Force of Will's good.
Yeah,
maybe
it's crazy.
But yeah, dude,
it's fucking wild.
I never like sat down and actually looked at the art.
It's pretty cool.
It is.
Yeah.
You know,
it's even cooler to see all the old. I mean, history. I mean, a lot of these cards, each one has like some utility or no utility at all in a deck in some format somewhere. Like even the commons, which are obviously, there's tons of print runs of it, play in like those peasant games where they only play with commons, they don't play with rares or anything.
Yeah.
That's like just a variant of Magic.
Peasant game?
Yeah, I don't remember what it's called. I think it's
4 people only.
I keep thinking Pioneer. Pioneer is another format. Plebeian, it's something like that.
Ooh, you want to draw 2 cards for 4 mana?
Yeah, dude. Banger.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But
big money card there.
4 mana, draw 2 cards.
Yeah, it's almost as good as the 4 mana draw 1 card.
Dude, that's double though. Jesus. But so yeah, this was a good little turn for you then.
Yeah, it was a little fortuitous thing to have happened. Kind of hilarious. Very funny.
Now I'm like just flipping through these cards. I feel like this is bad content.
Nah, it doesn't matter. Your wife will understand.
Yeah, she'll be like, oh, so what were the cards? And I'll have to just remember each one.
Yeah, you'll have to name them off for her.
Oh, yeah, there was
a Kurt Ape, and, he was telling me about the Kurt Ape. It just looked like a stupid monkey to me.
I think it looked like a real photo of a gorilla.
Yeah, it does. I'll have to make a Kurt Ape deck at some point. It used Kurt Ape, and then there was another, like, really high value card. I actually think Kurt Ape's unbanning is pretty recent. They it was like within the last 10 years, I think, that they unbanned Kurt Ape after him being banned in the 90s. I don't remember though. Don't quote me on that.
It's just like as soon as they do that, the floodgates open. Everybody's running Kurt Ape decks.
Yeah. There is a lot of those like creature heavy, like stompy kind of decks. Yeah. I made one myself. It's still one of the decks that I have fully built. It's like a 10 land stompy deck. And it's a 60 card deck that only has 10 land in it, which if you're not a Magic player, like land is kind of like your mana base that you use to cast everything. And so typically in a 60 card deck, you want to run about like 20 something land. Usually like 23. It depends on what the deck is and stuff, but the 10 land Stompy is really like a gambler's deck because you have to get at least 1 land in your opening hand. Luckily, most of the cards either cost nothing, pay themselves back, make mana, or, are only 1 mana, so you can kind of afford it, but it's, you can get pretty funny with some of these deck designs, which is what I loved about the early game of Magic, or the early days of Magic. Which is where these cards were from. I mean, these sets look like blast to play going through the cards.
I think it would be fun to just have like play sets of like all the ancient cards.
Yeah, I think at some point what I will do, because like the proxy market, it's like about $2.50 for a proxy, or if you buy a lot of proxies at once, you can get them down to about $1 a card. There are a lot of cards in here that aren't worth $1. They're worth less than $1. I think at some point in my life, what I would like to do for fun is I would like to go through every set of Magic and then either buy the cards that are less than $1, and then get proxies of anything more, and then get a play set of every card throughout every set of history. That would be such an awesome collection to have. Because at the end of the day, it's just cardboard. Like, I don't care about the reality of what they are, whether they're printed fake or real.
Yeah.
But what I do love is the idea of, like, playing through the history of that.
Yeah.
So.
Damn.
Yeah. luck has befallen me. I have won the proverbial lottery. Somebody in the 2020s has not realized the value of magic cards and has put them to their garbage. And they have somehow wound up in my lap after one of my family members was like, I really want those plastic bins.
Ooh, those are nice plastic bins.
Mind you, they're clear plastic. So the idea that somebody had driven by and not seen all of these things is, like, the odds are so minuscule for me to encounter this.
Did they even look through did, like, your family members look through the cards and go, like, oh, hey, that looks...
No. They were just like, oh, Cody's into this, I'll grab
cards.
Which is awesome. I mean, it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So.
Did you tell them that, like, there's...
No, not yet. I don't know if I mean, I want to do the ethical thing of, like, pay them back in a different way. And I think I will. Because, like, their son is the one that really likes the fact that, like, I was teaching him the game maker stuff, like programming. Yeah. And so I think, like, it would be more beneficial rather than give them, like, a lump sum of money to, like, actually, like, help him or, like, buy some things for him and stuff like that. Like, he doesn't have any, like, game consoles or anything like that and plays mainly, like, Roblox. And so I would like to, like, maybe I think what I want to do is I want to get one of those Raspberry Pis and load it up with stuff for him and give that to him. I don't know. I'll figure it out.
That's a good time.
Because, you know, they're pretty wealthy and well off. The money doesn't really matter that much, I think. So.
Yeah. But that's cool, man.
Yeah, it is silly. If I wasn't, like, in dire straits, I would consider maybe keeping them. I don't know. It's hard to say. Keeping something so fragile is... It's not worth it. You're just inviting trouble, I think.
It's like, I collected GameCube for a while, and then I realized, like, the discs themselves suffer from disc rot. Like, air gets in it, and then the disc is broken. So, like, it'll eventually affect all of them. It's just a matter of time, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, why hold on to, like, all the games I grew up with, I'll keep, but, like, all the other ones, like, just...
Yeah, I mean, there's a nostalgia factor, but then you recognize, like, you can just emulate this stuff. I mean,
I bought it, and I like that game. Cool, I'm just gonna sell it and emulate, Yeah,
you can buy the, like, USB version of the real controller to get more of the real experience of playing it.
Oh,
like, you could just buy a, whatever... and GameCube or N64 or USB controller.
Yeah, I run it. I mean, like, my computer runs the game better anyway.
Yeah, than the console ever could.
Yeah, it's like...
Which is silly with the stuff that's literally paper. It's cardboard.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the proxies I have, I paid, like, $500 for, I think it was, like, several hundred proxies, and they were, like, play sets of all of the best cards in Magic. Everything. Every dual land, every Power 9 card, every fucking... staple of every format ever made, and that was completely worth the $400 to $500. Whereas, like, one card of those cards I showed you is worth $800. Like Underground Sea, that is an $800 card. If obviously assuming great condition, but even in shittier conditions, it can still get like $600 to $700. So
no,
it's just stupid to keep that stuff.
If you're looking to, I mean, like, I can tell you about it later, but I know a guy that runs a card shop that's decent, that I sold all my Pokemon cards to.
Yeah, I'll ask around. I do want to contact some of the places and try to get in contact with somebody that pays a better price than Card Kingdom. Card Kingdom is great because I can just send the cards to them and I'll get, like, a fair grading, but the fair grading will be at my expense. Which is fine, because I've only had $30 for, like, the last 4 months in my account, so really I don't care how much it is, but I would like to take advantage of it and try to get a better price.
Yeah.
If it takes a little bit of effort, I'm willing to put that forth, at least, to come in contact with somebody that, you know, maybe would pay something better for it.
Damn.
Yeah, so... Karma.
That's cool.
Destiny.
It all pays off.
It is ultimately ironic that I have spent most of my last few years of my life floating, like, the ability to sustain myself barely by selling my Magic collection.
Yes.
And then to have a Magic collection fall in my hands that is worth infinitely more than any of the money I have had.
I was about to say, like, it's just funny that, like, you're like, man, Magic, I wish it was better.
Yeah.
If only it was better. And you always talk about how it was better back in whatever, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like, this is the thing to come to save you.
Yeah.
After you talk trash about it.
Yeah. There's an ultimate irony in that, but also in the name. Like, oh man, if only there was something that could help save me. Oh, it's magic. That's so stupid. It was so dumb. I feel like I'm like part of some sitcom and there's a bunch of like gods up there that are just laughing their ass off at the pure symbolic hilarity of what has befallen me in a funny way. I say befallen, not in the negative sense, but just like has happened. Like some person is pulling the strings of fate to be like, dude, you know what would be ironic? You know what would be like really symbolically hilarious for him to happen to him? Let's just drop, like, let's make the odds like insufferably low, like incredibly, like let's make some person have the biggest brain fart of their life and just throw this to the curb.
Dude, it had to have been like someone's mom.
God. Dude, it's like spring clean. It's like summer cleaning. Somebody was like, "Fuck it, we're never gonna. I don't want to deal with this. I'm just gonna chuck these."
They climb up in the attic to find like a bin of Beanie Babies that they've been looking for. Like, oh, finally my Beanie Babies! Yeah. I should clean up here. Oh, these magic cards! And just,
kick them to the curb. Oh my god, that's so silly.
Dude, that has to have happened several times.
Oh, yeah. Like, I mean, even to my dad, he had a collection of baseball cards and a bunch of, like, old cards from his childhood. And my grandma was, like, summer cleaning and just threw them out. Like, it's always happened throughout history. Like, some person is just, like, ignorant of the value of something and they just toss it. Or, you know, obviously some things are value to people and value less to others. Like, I consider these of less value to myself because I know, like, they're just cardboard.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, I can get proxies of this from China at a way cheaper, reasonable rate.
You could sell the card to buy the fake card.
Yeah, I could sell one of these cards 20. To buy another, like, 500 fake cards.
Yeah.
I could buy 500 copies of that card.
Yeah.
Like, it's whatever. So, it's just fun. Obviously, there is some, like, people want to value it, you know, because they like collecting or whatever.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're just, what's that white rapper that plays Magic and he spent millions of dollars on Magic cards?
I have no idea.
He's got the eye tattoos. I can't remember his name.
Post Malone?
Yeah, Post Malone. He's a huge Magic player.
Is he?
Yeah, he does a Magic group with in his like basement or something every week with his buddies. And they've spent thousands. He's has like a pristine condition Black Lotus that he's paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for, and so like he's a huge Magic player
in a glass case.
Yeah. Maybe I'll just hit him up and see if he'll buy this from me. I really only want like 10K. I think 10K would be reasonable.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. Even $40 is still more than my account.
You would quintuple your money.
I'm being silly, but
that's cool, man.
Yeah, dude.
Jesus.
Life's little hilarities.
It is. It has those. But yeah.
So I have a document of things I want to do. So some of them start and end with just buying a new pair of shoes. Because I'm sick of my $6 pair of shoes. I'm getting blisters on my feet from wearing it. I would like to just have a nice wide toe box. It probably would only cost like $30, but
I can point you in the right direction if you want some. I got water shoes that are also like barefoot, whatever shoes.
I'm gonna be shopping the High Life now. I'm gonna have a budget.
Oh yeah,
I got big money to spend on shoes.
You buy like $2,000 shoes.
God.
Yeah,
dude.
Sneaker collectors are pretty wacky, dude.
Yeah, they're pretty wacky. People selling that stuff is wackier than Magic cards. At least Magic cards you can play with.
Yeah.
Shit.
You just look at.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I was also thinking of potentially upgrading our podcast a little bit. Maybe getting 2 Yeti microphones.
Oh my god! If you want it, dude, I'll do it. Don't spend your money on that. I'll do it.
I don't know what I want to do yet. I don't know if I want to because I have like this mic that was like $100, but it actually has the cable, and I have a switchboard at my house that I could plug all of them in.
Oh yeah.
And then like I could set it up where I could manage our levels and we could have a better quality, and then I could also just use this webcam to point at us and we could have like video.
Sit here, yeah.
Because I'm already literally rendering out that thumbnail picture that takes as long as if I just rendered out a video. So it's like if people feel. I don't know. It could improve our content just to see our faces, I think.
I think that I think that would get more clicks on YouTube because the algorithm would be like, it's not just a still image with audio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, these are real people. So that's something I'm considering doing. I mean, this, like I said, was like $100, so maybe I'll just get another one. And then I get the cable and then just an arm. And then, boom, done. All I gotta do is bring the switchboard from my house and fucking put it on the floor, hook it up.
I think that's the most expensive part, really. I mean, I can bring over my headphones or whatever too.
Oh yeah, headphones is probably something.
Yeah,
I'll need to look at, but yeah, that's cheap.
It wouldn't be hard.
It would not be hard. Now with my windfall of magic.
Oh God, you just remind me every time. This is like a human thing where. That sounds like the stupidest thing in the world. But anyways, human thing, right? My cousin just got a house.
Yeah.
And I went over and I helped him. The house is like 100 years old. It's old, right? So, like, we went into his basement. We're, like, knocking on the wall. This is, like, when there was heavy rain. And so, we, like, knock on the wall and water falls out. Like, the cinder blocks that the basement is on, the lime has seeped out of it somewhat, and so it's degrading. And so like what they've done is they've kind of like plastered it up. And so if you take off that plaster, now you're back to like the degrading cement. So basically you can't fix it necessarily till you get the water away from the house. So he's got to like redo French drain. He's got to put drains on the side and all that. But essentially walking around the house with him and him going like, yeah, I want to put an expansion on here. I'm going to redo the bathroom and do this XYZ. And like, as soon as he started going off, I'm like, man, I remember whenever I moved into my house, my parents coming over and me like telling my dad about all the stuff that I want to do and him going like, yep, that's what happens when you get a house. I'm like, damn, this is what happens when you get a house.
It's the same thing.
And so you now have like these magic cards and you're like, I now have something.
Yeah.
I must do something. What shall I do? Yeah, I want to do this thing with that thing.
Yeah.
I have X, so now I want to do Y with Z.
Yeah. Luckily, I know that the reality of the situation is that most of these are literally just an Amazon order away. Like, it's not like I gotta put forth the effort to, like, unplaster a wall or something.
Yeah.
I think most of these are relatively attainable, but that is really funny, yeah. It's like the grandiose plans of, overestimating.
You win the lottery and you're like, oh, maybe I should buy a boat.
God. Yeah, dude, most of the things I think I want to do that would improve my life, like buying shoes and like basic stuff like that, would cost less than $500.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Sure. I mean, it's not going to cost that much.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. On my in my life, like I pay myself a dividend every year in the summer, and so that's coming up. And every time that I do it, I go through the process of going like, oh man, I'm gonna have a bunch more money. Well. Maybe I should buy this. Maybe I should buy that. Oh, maybe I would do that. But then, like, if I am real with myself, I go like, look, we can, I bought a grill with it, right? And so the grill was expensive, but it's a grill I've been looking at for 2 years. I got it. They're normally $600. I got it for $400 because it has a dent in it. So like, whatever. But, I was looking at him like, oh man, maybe I should buy like some lights for my car. It's always like some like useless random junk that like I don't really need. And in reality, it would be way more useful if I just paid off my car faster.
Yeah.
Or if I like, painted a room in the house even. Even if I just did something. Yeah. It's always like, oh, money equals buy something. But in reality, you could just improve your life. And that is exponentially better than just like,
Yeah, like something annoying in my life that is like really small and minuscule but does take time is like the middle mouse button, middle click on my mouse is like going bad. And so whenever I use it, like instinctively, it'll click like 5 times or something.
Yeah.
Which you think wouldn't be a big deal, but when I'm using Game Maker and programming my game, middle click is open a tab to the manual on whatever thing. And so that opens 5 tabs immediately. And it's just like, it's little annoying stuff like that.
Get
like,
a new mouse.
Yeah, so I'm gonna, I'll probably invest in a new mouse. As well as, like, I don't have these boards glued together yet, so, like, they keep, like, pulling apart because for my desk.
Some wood glue would be nice.
So maybe, like, wood glue, or maybe I'll just get, like, a full actual piece of wood. Yeah. And then just mount it, because, fuck it. I mean,
why not?
What the hell am I doing?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm living in squalor. I'm living on the floor of this office.
You could make it, like, nice-ish.
I could get a fucking butcher block. A $200 butcher block, and that could be my desk. This monitor, it fucking sucks. It's a TV. The color is, like, not good at all. I love this monitor I have, even though it's old. Yeah. And my other one that was the dual monitor for it, like, it went bad. Like, a capacitor or something broke in it. And I just haven't opened it up because I knew I wouldn't have the money to afford, like, a 20-cent capacitor.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I just was like, oh, shit. Like, if a bill comes up, I'm fucked. So I just can't spend money, basically. So, like, even that fix, I mean, it would take a little bit of time, but assuming the capacitor is bad and it's not something else, probably take, like, less than $10 to fix it.
If you open it up, you might just need to, like, resolder something.
Yeah,
it might be something as
stupid.
simple as,
And that's something that directly impacts my life, because if I'm using dual screens to, like, program or something, I can't color check something on this screen, and it fucking hurts my eyes, because it's like I'm going between... So, holy shit. There's just so many things that don't cost any money at all, but because I've been, like, pouring in squalor, I haven't put money forwards, I guess.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah, Jesus. So that's where the money is going towards, is the little shit like that annoys me.
It's way better.
Like, I could probably use, like, a coat rack or something to put up all this fucking shit I have on the floor behind you.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Damn.
So yes, I'd like to thank first God and then the gods and whatever person is trolling me. I'd like to thank you as well, because the hilarity and irony of this falling in my lap is not lost on me symbolically.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Do you know what's wacky? Did you ever think about cell intelligence?
I have, a little bit.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, like the idea that cells have some sort of intelligence.
Yeah.
Which is why I think fasting is beneficial.
Yeah?
Yeah, because it's something that's responsible for, like, changing the way your cells act. Mm-hmm. Like, typically cells will either make fat or, whatever. They have, like, their own prescripted DNA program that they run, right? But obviously in the modern day, we're constantly eating. We're never not eating, basically. And that digestion takes, like, about 2 hours. And so, like, your cells obviously have a different script to run, or some sort of intelligence, when you're not eating. Mm-hmm. So because it needs to be able to sustain you. Yeah. So I do think about it a little bit. The idea of, what fasting does both spiritually, mentally, and cellularly. Yeah. What do you think about when you think about cell intelligence? Is there some particular thing that comes to mind?
I just find it crazy that, like, even though I feel as though I'm one coherent being, when it comes down to it, I'm a bunch of cells and organisms that kind of all act on their own to create a host and keep it alive. So, like, I mean, like, my stomach breaks down stuff to give fuel to whatever, so that way I can give it more fuel, so that way it can stay alive. It's like each cell is selfishly acting, and at the same time, acting as if, or acting in a way to keep the whole main thing alive. Mm-hmm. So that way it can keep living itself. It's like a weird, like, all the cells are like held at gunpoint against each other almost, but in a more peaceful way.
and then in a macro scale too, that process is necessary to continue to sustain everything else.
Yeah.
Because like you need to digest this stuff and crap it out, and your crap becomes like fertilizer and stuff, and then eventually like things dying need to decompose to return nutrients back. Like it's a full cycle.
As you back out of like it's so dumb because like as you like continue to zoom out, so like then you go to like an office building, right? People walk the same paths, they go to their little desk, they do their little function, and that all kind of feeds into like a different part of a building or whatever, right? That and then at the end of like a work day, all those people, if you zoom out more, people in a city, they all go to like whatever places for the sun being down, and then they all kind of wander back in. Like even that in a way is its own cell as like a
it's like a pattern of system of
it's like our cells help us stay alive so that we can become cells of a planet almost.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like even though like I don't know, it's pretty wacky.
It is wacky.
You just keep going, and then I don't know. Eventually, you do the Men in Black thing where you zoom all the way out, and then we're like in a marble, and then outside the marble is an alien, and outside of that there's like another cell, a nucleus, and then inside of that, you know, you just keep going.
This reminds me of this book. I found this at Salvation Army. It's called Zoom, and literally all it is just a bunch of pictures. And they repeatedly zoom.
So
like essentially,
yeah.
Each one, it starts
Unzoom.
off, it just and then it just
children.
keeps zooming in,
Oh yeah.
All the way down.
Oh yeah.
Further and further and further
going. Down. Oh no.
Yeah, it goes really hard. But it's just a bunch of creative pictures of zooming in, and then the cool thing about it is if you go backwards, it zooms out.
Yeah,
it's like a book you can read two ways.
Oh no, it's gonna be a picture again.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude, this goes on forever. Actually,
yeah,
it could. I just want to see what the last one is. I want spoilers.
Yeah.
How do we get from a chicken to... Oh, it's just Earth. Okay.
Yeah.
I see. And just a dot.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah. Zooms. It's by Istan Banyai, if anybody's really interested in that weird-ass book I picked up. It's apparently in some middle school library at some point.
Damn.
Which makes sense, because...
It's just kind of like a...
thing. Yeah, sorry. It zooms out, and then if you go backwards, you can zoom in.
Yeah.
I was incorrect.
Oh, it's fine. It all works. But, yeah, dude. I thought about that for a while.
Yeah.
The other day.
Was there something that prompted it?
I was laying in my hammock at home. And there's an oak tree that I stare up at sometimes. And I was thinking about how, like, weird... Not even weird. It's just, like, there's a tree above me that provides shade, but realistically, the tree doesn't care about the shade. The tree just wants sunlight. Collects the sunlight using like little cells that collect that and then turn it into energy. It's like, I don't know, just thinking about the cells and organization of everything is really wacky, and then like eventually you get to like, you know, thinking about infinity, which I've talked about before. You go on forever and it's like weirdly depressing, but not depressing, but also gives meaning. You know, there's a lot of meanings in a bunch of different things, and I can never really tell what's like, am I actually thinking deeply, or am I thinking in the most shallowest terms? Why am I recognizing these like simple things that I just live with? Why do I sit down in my hammock, look up and go like, oh, that tree has like cells that I learned about, and like, so like the cells break down the energy, and like digesting that knowledge, not even like for the first time, but like the first time really thinking about it, rather than just going, of course, yeah, trees have cells that absorb whatever. It's like, oh, there's like a little thing in there that moves the energy around. What? You know, and you can look at a leaf and you can almost see like the different cells and how they bring it to like a stem, then that feeds into the tree. It's like, oh, that's cool. But why am I thinking about this? Why do I think about these things? Why do these things catch my attention? Why do I stare at them? I don't know. Is there a meaning behind it? you always look for meanings of things. That's something that you always do. Now, if I look for meanings behind it, it just, to me, I go like, well, it's just interesting for me to look at. But what makes it interesting? Is it just my upbringing? Is it because I had an interest in like some chemistry stuff when I was younger, and that's just what I liked? I don't know. You know, why do I like that? Why do I like sciences? Because whenever I was in like third grade, I read my science book before we even opened or we even like started the class or whatever. Who knows? Why did I do it then? Why did I take my science book with me up north on a trip up north to the cabin with my dad? Why did I read that book while going up north instead of like playing on my Game Boy or something? It was something that was more interesting and more eye-catching or whatever, that like a third grade science book that was more interesting. So what made that more interesting? It's just that my brain like learning these new things. So then it all comes back to I just enjoy learning things, I think.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. Yeah.
I think I just said a bunch of nothing.
I don't think so. I mean, there's a lot of things I can extract from that. I find it fascinating. I find the atoms and things fascinating. What I find more fascinating is as well as is that like the Greeks had hypothesized that things had atoms like years ago, a long time ago, which is interesting to think about, as well as that something else I think about in more modern idea maybe is that there is so much space between these cells that it's almost like strange to imagine them constantly vibrating yet still maintaining cohesion despite, things like that. I find that interesting. I also think that, a lot of like subliminal things from your childhood that are probably, that you've long forgotten about, that are pushed into your unconscious, direct you in different ways. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I also think about like when you talk about stuff like school and learning and purpose and existential topics like that, I guess I think more about, I believe each person has some sort of thing that they have to figure out to do, or they have some sort of purpose, but they have to find it essentially in the course of their life. And so maybe this is some sort of directive towards you. I don't think when you look at things, I can't imagine that everything is some sort of like formulaic, understandable thing. Like, this has meaning, like because of X and Y or whatever. Obviously, it's shaped by your perspective and how the life you've lived and what value you find in things and all of that.
I mean, isn't there like value too in just almost going like, me learning that was interesting and that was the value of it. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
And that value shapes the appreciation you have for the world and the inner linking parts.
Realistically, I think I tend to think that I have a positive outlook on most things. So I think the understanding and appreciation and the like, maybe I guess wow factor maybe isn't the perfect word to use, but that of like me just like looking at a tree, I think that leads to me having a more positive outlook on things. Mm-hmm. Being able to see something, just like be able to break it down and go like, I can kind of understand what that is doing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, in a way, you're like recognizing the interconnectedness of all things.
Yeah.
Both the systems that they play in, as well as on a micro scale, literally the atoms that they're composed of being things that you're composed of as well.
Mm-hmm. It's wacky.
It is wacky. It's silly, too.
What are we doing?
Yeah, we gotta get back to the Pinocchio railing the girl with his nose bit.
Wait a second.
That was content. Could you imagine Pinocchio fucked a girl with his nose?
What if he sneezed?
Yeah. Oh my god, I didn't even think about that.
Talk about blowing a load.
Would it be phlegm or would it be something else?
It's sap.
Yeah, it's sap. She's like, oh man. He's like, tastes like maple syrup now.
Girl goes to like the gynecologist. She's like, I just can't open it up anymore. It's just sealed shut. It's too sticky.
Yeah, the doctor's like, man, there's a lot of yeast in here. And it's like, like the yeast is eating the sugar of the sap. Oh. That's kind of what I was thinking.
Okay, I see I thought you were like, oh yeah, Pinocchio was at the bakery. Thinking, I don't know.
You're like, you can make bread out of this pussy yeast. She just walks near bags of flour in the market and it immediately
It
turns
just
into
starts
bread.
inflating, yeah. The bread just like...
Yeah, she's got like spores. She has to wear menstrual pads at all times to collect the spores that billow out of her vagina to make bread. This is horrible. Why am I even going down this route?
I was about to say, like, yeah, some dude just, like, buys them. He's like, it makes the best pizza.
Yeah. Good luck to the person that listens to this podcast.
Yeah, wait a second. Hey, can we get an animated of that one?
Ugh, yeah.
I want the nasty one.
Yeah, animated, that's horrifying.
If you want to make it graphic, just post it on, like, Pornhub or something.
Oh, man, maybe I'll use some of the money to hire somebody on Fiverr to animate.
I wish it only cost $5 for an animation.
I wonder, there's probably some, like, person that is trying to get their start and they do simple animations they're willing to do it for $5, I bet.
Yeah, because, I mean, like, what do we need? Like, 30 seconds?
Yeah, I mean...
it doesn't even have to be good.
Some bits are so terrible, but would be kind of funny animated. Like, in our first episode, the, like, rug welcome mat thing. Yeah. I could probably extract some of the funnier bits, for sure.
I think if we made a few of those and then like we could talk shop real quick.
Yeah, let's talk shop. Fuck it. Who's listening? No one. Fuck it. All we're gonna do is extract the best parts of this and put them online.
Exactly.
No one's gonna listen to the full thing.
Put it into a TikTok.
Yeah.
And there you go. You just put a link.
Yeah, and then put the Minecraft footage behind.
No. Subway Surfers.
Yeah, Subway Surfer.
Or like the fake. There's ones too where they're just cutting slime.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that junk. Oh, yeah.
Dude, what we'll do is we'll re-record ourselves with video, and I'll just play the audio out loud, and we'll try to mouth what we're saying and pretend laugh like we had actually said it live and recorded it.
It'll look so uncanny. and that would probably do that would do great.
Yeah.
I think that would be...
It would be banger. People would be like, what's off about this?
Yeah, there's something weird about their podcast.
It's almost like it was authentic in the audio, but then like the overdub, the lip dubbing.
We got any part that I was like, oh yeah, man, we went off the script on that part. Like we have to like somehow resync it up so that way it looks real, but then all the scripted parts, it looks like we're just talking.
Yeah. Oh my god! Or we'll just record the back of our heads instead of our mouths.
And you just like nod.
Yeah, nodding. It looks like we're talking, but we're not, so we don't have to match the lip dub.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Or we just wear masks.
Oh man, even better.
Yeah, that way we don't even have to do anything.
Yeah, then we still obscure our identities vaguely, although I'm sure a routine listener could figure it out by now.
Oh yeah. Fairly easily. A routine listener. We don't have a routine.
It's true. There's no routines here.
Yeah.
Things just fall in your lap sometimes, like magic.
It is magic.
Yeah.
Like magic is magic. But yeah, dude. That's a podcast.
That is a podcast. Yeah, it is a podcast.
Where we at? Oh, man.
Yeah, 117, dude. We got more time.
I know. You know what? So, like, we went over in the last few.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, like, the listeners, they already got, like, they got paid forward.
It's true. We can go under on this one. Is there anything else we even want to talk about?
I'm trying to... I could have sworn there was something else that I was trying to remember that I did. I mean, like, I played Pikmin 3, but do we want to talk about video games again?
Yeah, I mean, we just played that new League mode that was fun, but do we really care?
Yeah, it's like...
We gotta talk about it a lot. What are these people going to do? They're going to be like, oh, they played video games.
Yeah, it's like...
whoop-de-fucking-do. Great audio content.
Exactly, right? It's like, oh yeah, I played Pikmin 3, but it's like, I can't...
Honestly, better content is the Pinocchio bit.
It would. Well, actually, I have one more, dude. Yeah, I got an idea.
Let's hear it. Throw it.
In Pikmin 3, there is a thing called Dandori.
Okay.
Okay, and Dandori is a Japanese word. And I'm probably gonna butcher this, but I believe it means to organize or to schedule. And so in a game about micromanaging guys carrying things, such as Pikmin, it is a pretty good name. And I've been thinking about, like, man, I really like the word Dandori. It's kind of a nice word to say. And so I was thinking, like, if I were to get a tattoo, I think I would get the Japanese character word Dandori.
It's probably like 2 characters, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think is Dan. I did Duolingo and did Japanese for like a month.
It's probably something like the character for logistics and and rice fields. Yeah. It's probably those two kanji put together. Actually, I gotta look it up. It's probably that, dude. There's no fucking way.
It's a rice field.
It's totally that. You know it.
Oh God! But I'll keep talking while you look that up. But the concept of Dandori is just like Tandoori. We're looking for Dandori. But yeah. So it's just like the idea of being organized. Oh man, they really don't want you to find it.
Yeah, they only want me to find tandoori chicken. Alright, we'll have to look that up later. Or yeah. I'll look on my phone.
Yeah, but Dandori. Good that's a interesting little word. I wish we had a word like that. Because like I remember looking
organization or
yeah, but it's like organization and timing in one word, I believe. If you look up just like Dandori definition, I think. Now I want to look at it, but that's gonna...
Yeah, keep talking about your life. What the fuck?
Yeah, so, anyway. So, but yeah, dude. I say that a lot. Yeah, dude. That's a good one. We're running out of sound clips on our soundboard to I say, yeah, dude, a lot,
Yeah.
So,
yeah, what else are we gonna do? Yeah, what was the other ones? Oh, man. It's been forever.
You know what? Oh, like gold?
So yeah, the gold one.
I'm gonna come. That one.
Yeah, that was the one I was thinking
of. The classic.
Classic.
But, dude. So let me tell you more about the Traeger grill.
Yeah, tell me about fucking grill.
Dude, I've never in my life felt so like I was telling you, my wife and we had a moment of like, wow, this is it. This is peace. This is the world, We're sitting in the basement. We just finished our burgers. They were delicious. And it's just like, there's something about like, I have this hot flame and my meat chunks.
All right, you're good. I got it.
It's so good. Anyway.
So it's 3 characters. The re at the end is probably like to denote like the verb or something like that. But the first 2 characters are kanji. So the first character means take. Or fetch.
Okay.
And the second character means grade or steps or stairs.
Okay. What? That's not at all.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. The idea of like taking something, like grabbing something, and then like stairs being like organized. I don't know.
It kind of like whenever I heard the definition, because I was just watching a video, so whoever told me that could have been completely wrong.
They could have been wrong.
The way that I took it was like logistics, but in a different way.
No.
So, basically, Dandori could just be take this stuff up the stairs, idiot.
Grabbing the stairs. You're physically taking a bunch of stairs. I don't know. There's like an organized way of steps, like things in order, one at a time.
Yeah.
Like first foot before the other.
You can't go to the third step without the first step.
Yeah, you gotta...
And the second step.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, there's some sort of, method to madness of going upwards or downwards using a state of stairs, and there's some organizational aspect of it. And take could also mean like you, take a path. Mm. It's not necessarily like you physically grab it.
Yeah. But, in Pikmin.
Yeah, in Pikmin.
It's picking things up and bringing them to a location.
That's good.
So it's pretty wacky, dude.
Yeah, it's interesting that you identified enough with that word.
I was just
to want to get it tattooed.
Yeah.
Do you think there's some internal thing about yourself that needs... Like, you could just do a step of stairs with, like, a hand holding them now.
Yeah.
That could be interestingly symbolic and not be, like, one of those, like...
Japanese... That's what
cringe foreign tattoos that people get.
Yeah. Well, it's just, like, I the way that it was defined to me the first time, like, I kind of manage people and things. Like, so that would be interesting as, like, a thing to put on my body, but, like, at the same time, it's like... I don't know.
Yeah, you should get like a Word, like a maybe an Excel table, and it could be like in one column like the definitions of like words that define you, and then their definitions in the other column. And then, like, whenever anybody asks, like, "Oh, who are you?" You just like lift up your shirt, and it's like under your like right nipple or something.
It's a picture of an Excel sheet that I
made, and it's tattooed on you.
Yeah,
and you're like, "Well, I am strong, capable, live, laugh, love. Wow. I am Dan Dory.
Look at that.
Yeah." You just use words from other cultures that you want to describe yourself
just
as.
Steal them, their mind.
And then you like reinforce it by like every day when you like go to take a shower, you like look in the mirror and you like read down. Maybe you have one on the other breast that's reversed so you can read it in the mirror.
I was about to say it would need to be reversed, you know. Yeah. But I mean, like, you know, I don't even particularly care for like, I'm not, like, a tattoo person. I don't have any tattoos. So.
Yeah. I only have one, and it's a friendship tattoo that's fading. It's kind of symbolic.
A little bit.
Symbolic because the only other person that... Well, it's funny, because I was in a pretty tight-knit friend group, and the one person that didn't get the tattoo, I don't know, I don't talk to him anymore. And then the other person that got the tattoo, they got it really big. Like I don't talk to him that much anymore either. But it's just interesting to think about.
Yeah,
you know, time changes, friends come and go.
Yeah, the literally the ink is fading as like I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, it was a little joke. It was supposed to be the letters ORZ, which is a Japanese emoticon where it looks like a man like on the ground, like suffering. Like he's like on. Yeah, like the O is his head, the R is his arms, and then the Z is his legs. And I got it on my foot because it's almost like he's like that's how you would read it on the ground. Yeah, he's like doing it. And my buddy got it on his like rib cage. It's fucking huge.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, then I think I know who.
Yeah.
If it's a huge one.
Yeah, but I haven't talked to him in a while. Not for any particular reason. I have nothing against him. Last time I saw him was at your wedding.
Yep.
But he's really good friends with the other friends, so it's probably just in his best interest to not have a relationship with me. No, so
it happens.
Yeah, I mean, people come and go. You either live long enough to bury your friends, or they bury you.
Yeah, you die.
Yeah.
Or you die.
You die. You gotta bring that existentialism back. You're looking at this oak tree. I'm looking at the timeline of life, man.
That's like people who live long enough, right? There's a lot of I've heard this before where you get to a certain age, all your friends are dead, and like it's just kind of like you, and like you're the only person of your generation that's there, and you're like, what am I doing?
You know, I thought about I had this recently, this thought, because I was thinking about like in the great hero stories, the like Joseph Campbell's like myth of the hero to like become a hero. Often you find mentors on your path. And I had recently had this interesting thought where all of my mentors have been named Ron, and each Ron I can classify into one of the three categories of the Trinity. I had physical Ron first. He was African American. He was when I worked at the golf course. And his like mottos and things of life, it was all about getting pussy. And, you know, getting laid, taking advantage of women. Like one of his stories he told me was this girl that he had treated, like he had said, like to her either pee hole or shoe sole. Like either give me the vagina or hit the road, basically. Like, and he had like talked about these stories of like him getting caught from police officers while he was like in his car getting head from girls and stuff. He's really weird, strange guy. Jesus. Also like part of the like Freemasons for whatever reason. So take that what you will. But he was what I would classify as like the physical Ron. You know, he was focused in like primarily the physical world. I didn't get enough at that time. I was not very spiritual or religious, so there's probably aspects of him that I'm neglecting. But at that time in my life, a lot of the conversation revolved around physicality. Later in my life, when I worked at a different golf course, I had met White Ron, and this was what I would consider like mental Ron. He's like the mind Ron. And a lot of the stuff that he told me was like, we had long conversations. He would come in every day and we talked for several hours, and he would bring his dog. He'd just go on a walk at the park. And I wasn't that busy because it was a par 3 golf course and there wasn't a lot of people coming in. And so he'd stand there for hours and we'd talk about conversations. And a lot of it was like books that he had wished he'd read when he was younger, things that had affected his life, like ideas of like religion, but also like rationality and logic. Like he talked a lot he was a salesman for majority of his life. So a lot of that has colored his mindset. And it was a lot of interesting things he had talked about. And then recently, now that after those jobs have ended and I'm working on this, in the woods, as I had walked around, I met spiritual Ron, mushroom man Ron. And he had told me interesting things about his life and the things he's explored through like the chemicals of like affecting his mind and like these like strange or spiritual concepts. But I think a lot about mental Ron, because the last time I had talked to him was like a year or two ago. I think I was like going on hard times and I had called him or something or sent him an email. And he had responded to me and he had called me. But a lot of the advice he had given me was from like an older generation. It was almost like before we'd had a link where it was easy to understand. And I think that's because I was receptive to his advice. I was receptive in the way that I didn't have a lot of opinions of my own, or the opinions I had were opinions of other people, and I hadn't taken a lot of time to introspect and think. But the more I'd heard like his advice to me about like what I should do, like I should get a job, I should get a 9 to 5, I should keep like that grind, I should like do that to make some money, I should like, you know, and some of his advice was good and some of it was bad. You have to like pick and choose. But at the end of the day, I realized that advice was so divorced from this concept of like the person I wanted to be, that mentality, like the things he had given me, I am grateful for, like the books and things I've read, but they have shaped me in a way that is different than what he is, like the person that he came out to be. And he was talking about his life, right? And it's kind of interesting to be in the perspective of giving advice to somebody younger than you and then also talking about your life, because I can reflect on he's at the end of his life and the things he's talking about. He doesn't have any family. He has friends. He has people he talks to. But he had a problem with his heart and he was hoping that he would just go. Like he was hoping that he would just die. He's had enough living. He doesn't want to live anymore. There's not things to look forward for him. And things like that. And so when you think about it in like a way, you get the macro scale of looking at it. Like, if I want that life, if I want that end, then sure, I'll take his advice, right? Because that's how he got there. He's giving me advice based on that. But that, obviously, beginning with the end in mind, that's not the person I want to be. I don't want to be that lonely. I don't want to be like wishing that I would go. Yeah. And obviously my perspective will change. I'm 27 now. I can't say that I won't be sick of this life.
Your 40s, you're like, nah.
Maybe those Amazon super suckers come out and I'm just ready for the end. But in my current...
Ron was right.
Yeah, Ron was right. The world's only going down and we got to go down with it. Maybe I will be wishing for that sort of end. And I've had a lot of dreams with Ron, too, and, like, all my Rons, really. And the dreams I've had of Ron involve towers and, like, ascendancy and steps and different things like that. So it's really interesting to think about. But the reason I bring it up is because, like, thinking about the end and also, like, life and death and these sort of concepts and, like, what animates you. What sort of passion, what direction do you have? Is there something at the end? Like, if you are somebody that, you know, everything you do affects your life, basically, and your outcome. Yeah. And so I mentioned this both as the interesting trinity of Rons, but also from the perspective of, I don't know, just food for thought.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's cool. Interesting to think about.
It is. Damn.
Money comes and goes.
Yeah.
And, you got to figure out who you want to be and get there, I think.
It's the important part.
Everybody's going to figure it out at some point in their life.
If you listen to financial YouTube, everybody's screwed all the time.
Yeah.
You know.
If you listen to, fear-mongering in the news, outside is burning.
You're going to die.
Eternally. The wasps are getting bigger. People are coughing more.
It's hotter.
Yeah, it's hotter. It's hotter than it ever has been.
It has been. It has been hotter than it has been.
Yeah.
That's true. They say it's hotter than it's been, but it's like you go outside and it's like 86.
Yeah, actually... I had this discussion with my girlfriend recently. Got in kind of an argument because she had been reading a lot of stuff that was like kind of doomerish.
Yeah.
Basically. And, you know, she's obviously smart enough to come to her own opinions based on the information she looks at. But I guess I'm pretty skeptical about this stuff. Maybe to a fault at times. I can be pretty stubborn. But on my cursory glance, like, sure, it seems like things are catastrophizing. But when you look in the last 100 years, like, there's been aspects of, you know, hotter weather, more tornadoes, more whatever.
Yeah.
I don't say this like to lackadaisically dismiss that, you know, humans have an impact on the environment. Obviously, I can recognize if I believe that we have everything we do affects our lives, obviously everything we do affects the world we live in some way, whether small or not. But just sitting there and like, you know, taking the doom pill, I don't think is the solution.
We're all gonna die.
Yeah,
it's all gonna be miserable.
I think recognizing the like positive change you can have in your environment and not forcing that on others is probably the best way forward. So,
yeah. Well, it wasn't there. I mean, like there's like shows that were based on the fact that the Earth, us as humans, use like 1.6 times the Earth's resources every year. So meaning, as much as the Earth can renew, which is 1, we use 0.6 more than that every year. And so, like, this was, like, a few years ago. And so, that's been a problem, right? That's going to be a problem. Eventually, we will run out of resources. So, then we're kind of in trouble because now we can't have power, we can't have all these things that we've been living with for so long. So, but in recent years, I think that we've got caught down, not substantially, but we've started a downward trend potentially because of new technology makes things more efficient. We can become better at whatever we need to do.
I also think that there is incentives and disincentives to create new technology to do that, right? Like the word fossil fuels was named by like the Rockefellers or something in order to create this sort of perception that it'll eventually run out. But then there's also research in fields like they've talked about amniotic fluid in the ocean that routinely, amniotic oil that routinely just like regenerates in the ocean. It's not all necessarily like the fossil fuels that we get, those sort of things.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, people are going through trying to figure out ways to eat bugs, but also like
Bill Gates
grow meat and stuff. Like there's a lot of weird things that are happening. I guess when I think about these things, I think, like, my skepticism is, like, okay, somebody says that we're consuming more than 1.6 times, but, like, that's based on our current ability to measure these sort of things.
Oh, yeah.
And there's obviously a lot of numbers you got to take into factor. Like, is it worth, obviously, it's I'm not saying science is pointless. I'm just saying that you got to take it with some sort of, you know, skepticism, but also try to work towards a better future knowing the information you have.
I'm on the,
I'm not saying this to, like, you know, court your opinion. I'm just saying, like, this is the way I think about it. Like, I see a lot of people that suffer from, like, watching one particular perspective of, like, somebody fear-mongering about something, and then they feel their own, like, dread or, like, their inability to make a significant difference in the world because, you know, like, you could look at any other country and shift the blame and see how much money or how much trash they're throwing into the ocean and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And try to figure... But, yeah, it's... The solution in the end is to recognize that, you know, you have power and there's things that you can do to change your life, and the things you impact your life will in no small way impact other people's lives as well.
Yeah.
And through that, you can make a significant change in the world.
Or everyone is a fascist and everything's terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, either way, you know.
Maybe we can just 3D print everything.
I want more microplastics, please.
Yeah, more microplastics.
Anyway.
Yeah, any closing thoughts as we shut our eyelids?
What did I say at the very beginning? Just before we started.
You were talking about the salmon.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to be a stinky boy.
Yeah.
And my fingers still...
smell like salmon.
They still smell like salmon. Anyway.
You're gonna be a stinky boy. That's your destiny.
That's my destiny. I'm ready.
Yeah. Stinky Pinocchio fucking...